begin with, we will cover the KSi AutoBatch V2 automation system. This system is about 4 or 5 years old, and so if you have this system, you have been using it for quite a while, and you are probably fairly familiar with your system, so this will be a fairly high-level overview of your AutoBatch system, starting with the home page. This is the system when you boot up your V2 AutoBatch automation system. This is the page that you see. This is the home page where you set up your customer or set up your orders, you start your job, you print your ticket. This is the main page in your system. So from this page, we access the setup screen by pressing the setup button, and this takes us to a setup AutoBatch parameters window where we have access to view and change the different parts of our system and how it operates and how it performs. On the left, we have scale setup. This window, this area here, has settings as they relate to the scale. The top field here, capacity, this is the scale capacity. It is currently set at 12,500 pounds. This is important. This tells the system how many pounds the scale can hold, and so if there's an order greater than this amount, it's going to split that order into multiple batches. The empty tolerance, this is how many pounds the system is looking for before it recognizes the scale as empty. So in this case, when the scale gets 10 pounds or below, the system is going to say that the scale is empty. The unit size is 50 pounds, so if we are running an order by units defined as pounds, this is going to use this field here and say, and if you're asking for 50 units times 50 pounds, as we show here, that's going to be 2,500 pounds. This bottom field is unit size, how many seeds are in a unit. In this case, it's 140,000 seeds per unit. So if we are running an order based on based on units as defined by seed count, it's going to use this field in combination with the seeds per pound on the specific bin. On the right, we have some system setup parameters, motor fault time, how many seconds we're going to give the system, the motor before it faults, 2 seconds, valve 2 seconds, this would be for your air gates. The slow scale time, this is 200 seconds. This is how many seconds we're going to give the scale to reach capacity, and if it has not filled in 200 seconds, we will alert the operator through the alarm light and say something is in your obstructing the seed in your system, and maybe it could be the bin ran empty or something like that. The conveyor empty time, this is the amount of time that we are giving the conveyors when we're filling the scale and the conveyors go into cleanout mode. How many seconds we're going to let those conveyors run. So for example, we're running seed from bin number 3 and the bin gate closes, we're going to let those conveyors run for 20 more seconds, and after that 20 seconds, we're going to assume that those conveyors are cleaned out and empty. The fill-off delay is just a way to add time to this 20 seconds. Typically, this is 0 seconds on your system. Over here on the right, you use these two fields to set the date and time on your system. You can refer to your operator's manual for specific instructions on how to code this to get the correct time and date. On the left, we have a few buttons that allow you to do different things with your system. Enable auto discharge. If this button is on and green, the discharge, treater fill, and treater discharge conveyors will be controlled automatically. They will turn on when the system needs them, and then they will turn off based on a timer that you set on the loadout page. Enable data log to USB. This button here, if this is green, if you have a USB drive plugged into your grace port on the left side of your panel, it's going to record your jobs to that USB drive. And then the enable network, if your V2 system has a database package, this needs to be green so that you can communicate with it. Okay, so we push back and it takes us back to our home page. And then at this point, we could navigate to the bins, which is right here. And on the bin page, we can see the bins that we have in our system. You can see we're showing there's a bin right behind this window here that we're not seeing, but there's a bin 1, bin 2, bin 3. And if we have a 4th bin, we could navigate to the 4th bin by pressing this bin 4 button. The setup parameters for the specific bin are accessed by clicking on the setup button on the top of the bin. When you click that, it's going to ask for a security code, which is 777. Press that and press enter, and it'll open up this bin 1 setup parameters window. This window, you're going to have a bin 1 seed ID. You can enter the seed ID. This is the seed ID that you're going to use on your order to call from this bin. It's important that you pay attention to the capital letters, spaces, dashes, etc. It has to be typed in exactly on your home page as it is right here so that it knows which bin you want to pull from. This bin 1 seeds per pound, this is set at 2450. This is going to, when you're running an order based on units by seed count, it's going to look at this, whichever bin you enable, it's going to use this seeds per pound in 140,000 seeds per unit, or as you define it in the setup parameter web page, to determine how many pounds you need. The fill amount and the capacity are two numbers that let you know how full your bin is, and it also gives you this green chart, this green line here to tell you from a visual how full your bins are. On the bottom, we have Run Auto Set. When you press Run Auto Set, it's going to ask for your security code 777, and when you do that, it's going to run an auto set, which is going to automatically determine a pre-act and a discharge rate in pounds per second. As you can see here, this auto set is running, and we have 765 pounds as shown right here, and we're targeting 2,500 pounds. The way the auto set works is that when you put in your 777 and push enter, it's going to turn on your underbin and your scale fill conveyors and fill the scale to 500 pounds. When the scale hits 500 pounds, it's going to close the bin gate, and it's going to clean the conveyors out for 60 seconds. At the end of that 60 seconds, the system is going to calculate the first run pre-act based on how many pounds over 500 we went. So in this case, we have a first run pre-act of 265, and you can see that we have 765 pounds here. So 765 pounds is 265 pounds over 500. And so now when we're targeting 20, so then at the end of the first run, it's going to open up the bin gate again, turn and fill the scale to 2,500 pounds, except it will close the gate this many pounds early. So it would close the gate at 2,500 minus 265. And at the end of the run, you're going to end up with 2,500 pounds, and it's going to determine a final pre-act and a final rate pounds per second and import them into the bin setup parameters, which are right here. This pre-act and this discharge rate will be automatically brought over from that pre-act. Once you have run your pre-acts for all your bins, you're ready to set up an order. And this page here, as I mentioned earlier, is where you set up an order. If you click this open file, this open button here, it'll open up a window where you can store 10 customer names, 10 note 1s, and 10 notes 2. And then you can also save 10 job seed IDs. Once you have those in there, those can easily be recalled by pressing the open button. It'll open up a form, and you can press select, and it'll automatically put that information into this form. So we have a customer name, job note 1, job note 2, a seed ID. Again, this seed ID right here is very critical that this job seed ID matches exactly what we have on the bin. So if we go back and look at this bin, we can see that our job bin seed ID is 93M11. That is what we entered right here. That needs to be this exactly. And if we don't have it exactly, we will not be able to select and enable that bin. The next part of the order is the amount. Right now we have 5,000 pounds selected. We can see 5,000 pounds. However, if we want to run in units, we can select this, push this down arrow over here where my mouse is, where it says open in the down arrow. If you press on that, it'll open up a seed mode select. Right now we have selected pounds, but if you select on any of these three fields, it will use that mode. So if we want to run by units, we would select this bottom one, and then we would put in how many units we wanted. And when we started the job and enabled the bin, it's going to calculate the pounds. As you can see, we have started the job in this picture, and we have enabled this bin 1. When we did that, it opened the bin gate, turned the conveyors on, and is filling our scale, and we are targeting 5,000 pounds. Once the scale reaches its target weight, it's going to close the bin gate, and it will go into a clean out mode. As you can see, the conveyors are going to clean out for 20 seconds, as shown right here, and this screenshot was grabbed 3.6 seconds into that segment, into that stage. the treater page, or I'm sorry, the treater page shows the scale discharging through the treater. This green light indicates that the drum is running, and these green arrows indicate that our treater discharge conveyor is running. As you can see, we have pressed start on our discharge conveyors, and so this conveyor will start until we press stop. At the end of this run, when the scale returns back to 0, we can return to our home page and print a ticket to our slip ticket printer, and the system will be ready for a second job.